Hi, how are you all doing? Somebody asked a comment in one of my other videos and they were like, how are you doing? Thank you for asking. What? How am I doing? I love how I'll start these videos and my screen brightness goes down and I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I want to be able to see myself in case I got like a boogie or something on my face. How am I doing? I'm doing phenomenal, but we'll get to that. One of the first things I would like to say is hi, welcome to those of you who have been here before. Welcome to those of you who have never been here before, and this is your first trip with me. As a disclaimer, I will be here yapping about various things, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. It just depends. That's what we do here. This started because I was moved to be authentic online publicly and share my story and my experiences and the things that go on in my life that I can share. And since I've started doing that, I have gotten feedback that it's been helpful to some people, which I always love. I love being of help to people. And so I've been moved to keep doing these until further notice. I don't know, other than being vulnerable, if there's another purpose to these, or if, this is just what's happening. So that's what's going on. Let's get some water going. Get a fire going. That makes me think of Lord of the Rings. The scene where the orcs have... This is a spoiler for Lord of the Rings. This is the second movie. This is the second movie. So spoilers, but where the orcs have Merry and Pippin and they're complaining and they're bitching about the fact that they've been running. We're not going no further till we've had a breather. And he's like, get a fire going. And they get a fire going. And he's like, I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. And then they start looking at Merry and Pippin and being like, damn. We should eat them. And the one orc said, they are not for eating. And he was like, what about their legs? They don't need those. And he was like, if you touch them, I'm gonna kill you, bruh. And then he squared up, and then a fight broke out. So, if you haven't seen, I've mentioned this in other videos, if you haven't seen, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, I get why you wouldn't want to sit through it. So much of it is, for me, the nostalgia, but it's just so good. The story's good. It shows, in my opinion, various versions. One second. Okay, that's the first time I've ever done that. I wonder how that's going to show up in the video. My sister just got home and my parents put the latch on the door and I didn't know that she was on her way back. So I was like, wait, I thought I heard like a thud. So I'm glad I went out there and checked. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings. It's so good. It shows so many different versions of healthy masculinity. Like, there's like the characters, they're just so many solid like men, so many different types of men. They're just great and they have these amazing bonds and it's amazing. And then like the romance in, I'm talking about the Lord of the Rings. I am not referring to the Hobbit. But in Lord of the Rings, I love the love story. It's one of the ones that I always loved. Like, I was never, like, I remember in one of my other videos, I talked about how I was a super hater when it came to romance in movies, because I was like, I'll never have it, so bump them. But, excuse me, when it came to Aragorn and Arwen, yeah, I was here for it. 4 minutes and 44 seconds. As I say that. But I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's one of my favorite trilogies of all time. But yeah, so I hope that you all are feeling amazing and lovely and handsome and good looking, sexy, a stone cold stunner, if you will. I really, again, I like to, at the beginning of the videos, talk about how appreciative I am of you guys, because I find that when I do that at the very end, it's like, well, not a lot of people have the attention span for videos this long. And somebody did say, may you be able to film in landscape mode so that YouTube will push your videos. Whenever I can figure out how to do that, because with this phone, it's so hard to do. And then because of the way that I do the videos and where I'm at, it's a bit difficult to put all of that together. I can, if I am so moved to, I will. 5 minutes and 55 seconds as I say that. And 5, as we've talked about before, represents change in numerology. It represents new things. So maybe that's a change that at some point I will be moved to do, which is to flip it and record and figure out how I can get it to be in landscape mode. I mean, of course, then I'll have to adjust, because I like to talk at the camera. I like to talk to you all. That's what I like to do. And so if it's in landscape mode, the camera is then going to be either on the left or the right. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to reorient myself to looking at it, which honestly wouldn't be that hard, but but that's that, that's what's going on there. I actually had a really good day today. Today in our local community, there was a mystic festival. So it was like, it's only the 3rd time that our town has done it. And, this is the first time that we attended. My sister saw it. We went to a park and she saw a sign on a billboard and was like, ooh, we should go to this. And she took a picture. She's like a plus person to pick events for us to go to, because I'm the type of person that I don't go out a lot because I don't really have a reason to go out a lot. So if I have no reason, I don't leave the house. I am a homebody. It's where I'm the most comfortable. I'll get a wild hair up my ass occasionally to be like, I want to go out, I want to go into the mountains, or I want to go to the lake or something. But for the most part, I am big chilling unless something is planned. And I personally am not a big planner. I'm not the type of person who contacts the entire friend group and goes, I have this plan, let's get it together. Like, I'm an idea person, but I'm not we're going to make it out the group chat with this. If you have friends who are like that, send them a text, let them know when you see them how much you care about them, because that friend is so important for friends who want to hang out in person. That person is so important for friend groups, and I believe they are the unsung heroes, if you will, of friend groups. The people who are like, hey, I want to go here, what date works for everybody, what time, and then they literally get everybody out there to do stuff. I love it. I love you. I love the people like that. You guys are amazing. And so my sister has become that person. So the very first Renaissance fair that I ever went to because we were driving down the road and we looked up at a billboard. And for years this has happened, where my family members and I have been in the car driving somewhere, we see something exciting on the billboard, somebody in the car goes, hey, we should do that, and then we never do it. My youngest sister, she has been the person, she took a picture and immediately after we got home, she put it in her calendar and was like, hey, so let's look it up and see, like, how much do the tickets cost? How long does it last? How is it a weekend thing or a day thing? So first Renaissance fair. What else? We went to see 2 different places where they were showing really nice Christmas lights, and then we actually went and saw fireworks for New Year's, which we as a family have not done since I was really little, since before she was born. So that was amazing to bring in the new year with something new and exciting, and it was her that did that. So again, if you are watching this and you are that person who plans things and who comes up with stuff, you are so loved and you are so appreciated. Even if people are not telling you, if people are showing up to things that you're planning, even if it's only 1 or 2 people, you are appreciated, because it is so difficult. I myself identify as an introvert, and it's because I recharge better alone, like in a room or outside by myself. Now, if I have, when I have a romantic partner, 10 minutes and 10 seconds as I say that, it is different. I actually recharge well with one other person. I don't have to be completely alone, but I have to be left alone. I don't want to engage anybody when my social battery goes down or when I'm overstimulated and I've just had like a busy day, even if the day was good. That's kind of why I like doing these videos, because I'm not having to deal with anybody else's energy. So, I mean, sometimes I do. Sometimes when I'm doing these videos, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I feel the energy of certain people. And I know that sounds crazy as fuck. I know it sounds whack, but that's how I feel. But, so I'm very introverted. And of course, growing up, people did not think I was introverted because I was constantly like trying to be entertaining and make people laugh. And, I enjoyed having friends at school and stuff. And, I'm one of those people to where you would not think I was an introvert. Most people think I'm an extrovert if they are seeing me like out at events when I'm doing things. Less so now, because since I've started like the authenticity journey, I do not seek to be the like center of what's happening. I used to go into like situations and be like, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Let me tell a joke. Let me sing a song. Do you need me to wash, your dishes for you? Like, what can I do to assist? Like, it was always me trying to be impressive and trying to be of use to people, people pleasing essentially. And now that I don't do that, I typically actually am not talking a whole lot unless somebody engages me. I'm very comfortable standing, in like a corner of the room or somewhere out of the way while I people watch. I love people watching. I find human beings to be very fascinating. 12 minutes and 12 seconds as I say that. So if you're a person who likes people watching, you are among friends. I enjoy people watching. I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's fun to observe human beings in various habitats, various areas. Especially, you can learn a lot about people by watching them. You can see what makes people uncomfortable. And I think that if you're a people watcher and you enjoy it, you actually are better able to read rooms and you're better able to read body language. You ever run into a person who just doesn't get it? Like, they cannot for the life of them read a room. Like, they walk into the room and they talking all loud and they completely change the vibe, and everybody's kind of looking at them like, it's because they don't know how to read a room. So people watching and not being creepy. I'm not talking about staring people down and being weird with it. Like, I'm just saying, like, going into a public space where people know that there are other people and just kind of sitting and just kind of observing as people walk by. 13 minutes and 13 seconds as I say that. Interesting. I don't know if there are any people watchers in the chat, but hello. I too like to people watch. But yeah, so typically people they used to mistake me for an extrovert. I do not recharge around a lot of people. I really do not. And that's really the big thing. For those of you who've always been like, well, don't introverts stay indoors and extroverts go out? That's actually not the case. There are a lot of introverts who like being out. They don't like being at home. And then there are a lot of extroverts who prefer to be in a place where they are comfortable. Like, they really do prefer that. And the big difference is, how do they recharge when they're tired? Like, when my mom is tired, she is an extrovert, because when she's tired, she would prefer to fall asleep in a room full of people who are talking and engaging than go somewhere else and go to sleep. I am not that person. I would much rather go somewhere and go to sleep. Now, if I'm around like my people that I'm comfortable with, that's an entirely different story. But for the most part, I don't want to recharge around other people. So yeah, mistaken for an extrovert. And then for those of you who do the zodiac thing, I have been mistaken for an Aries a lot. And again, I think I said that in another video and I was honored. I was like, oh my gosh, Aries are so cool. So that's really dope. But no, I am an Aquarius sun. I can be very needy of attention. I enjoy having attention from the people that I respect in particular. I don't need attention from everybody. So like, it's funny because I do these videos and it's like, but don't you want attention on these videos? And I do, but it's less attention for me and it's more attention to the topics at hand, that I'm sharing with people. Yeah. Talking over the phone, I have frequently been mistaken for a person who is not my skin tone, and that frequently makes me laugh. I will never forget, I was in the mall and I went to the bathroom at one point and I was in the stall and the lady next to me, there was no toilet paper in her stall, and so she was like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but can I have some toilet paper? And so I passed it under, but the way I was able to pass the toilet paper under, she didn't see my hand. So I was talking to her. I was like, oh, no problem, there you go. And then when I went out to wash my hands, I was at the sink, and she was like, oh, in the stall still. I don't understand how people keep talking when they're using the bathroom, but, I mean, I can do that with, like, my sister, but I can't really do that with other people. I'm like, I need to focus, because then my body goes, how do we pee again? So I was at the sink washing my hands and she's talking to me through the stall, and then she comes out and she goes, oh, and I was like, your assumption is showing. It's really funny. It's hilarious. It used to be very funny because my name, Yasha, is a European name. So it doesn't really, it's not like, you already know. It's not a name that somebody would hear and immediately make an assumption about where that person's from. A lot of people are just like, oh, that's really pretty. Like, is that Scandinavian? So it's really interesting. But yeah, I think it's really cool when people are like, oh, I thought you were this. And I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm this. It's nice. I used to be a person who really wanted to explain myself. I still do. This is a trait, a common trait among Aquariuses, is that we tend to over-explain. We want people to understand us. And for me, coming from a more psychological reason why I'm like that, vulnerability moment, 17 minutes and 17 seconds as I say that. Growing up, I frequently felt like people thought I was a bad person. And I was like, well, the only reason that somebody would think that I'm a bad person is because they don't understand my reasoning behind what I do. And I thought that at like 9-10 years old. So my entire life, I have often over-explained myself to the people around me, in particular the people that I respect. I could not care less about the opinions of people who I don't know and who I don't respect. And my respect that I give is earned, yes. Like, I give everybody a base amount of respect, and based off of your behavior, like, I will adjust as needed. And for me, it's like, you can still respect somebody and check them if you need to, that's just kind of how I feel. What is that? But respect. What were we saying about that? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, but I frequently was like, well, I feel that the reason why people think that I am mean or that I'm a bitch is because they don't seek to get to know me. So I would over-explain to the people who were closest to me, and I just got to the point where now when people say things or they don't ask any questions, they make assumptions about why I do what I do, I'll leave it. Unless I am moved, like by my spirit, by my gut to say something, I don't say shit, because I don't owe anybody an explanation. And you don't either, my love. As you are living your life, as you're going around and being super cute and doing your thing, and when I'm referring to people being cute and sexy and beautiful and handsome, these are not gender specific terms. I mean them for everybody. I don't care what gender you are. You could be any gender, and I can use all of those terms to describe you. Now, if I were to meet you in person and I got to know you and you were like, hey, I prefer you not use these terms, I wouldn't use them. But for the collective consciousness, for all the people, I mean those terms for everybody. So I'm never just, unless I expressly say, I feel like I'm talking to like a feminine energy, which can be male or female, or I'm like, oh, I'm talking to a woman, I'm talking to a man, I'm talking to a person who is outside of that time and they're rocking their fae energy, you know? But it's also like 2 in the morning right now. 2:30 maybe. Almost 3. It might be 3 in the morning. But yeah, you don't owe people, you don't have to explain where you're coming from. You can, and in some cases, I believe it is like a courtesy to explain. Like, you know, if somebody is really going out of their way to help you with something and they're like, why did you do this? Or blah, blah, blah. Like, it's common courtesy, I think, to explain yourself in some cases. But a lot of you that are watching this are probably ex-people pleasers or people who are people pleasers. And I'm here to tell you, my love, you've done enough. You've done enough people pleasing. Let's come on out of that space. Take my hand. Come on. Jump through the camera and let's take a walk. Let's go get some ice cream, cotton candy flavored. Side note, did you know that like, I don't know if it's still this way. When I lived in Boston, I was hard pressed to find a ice cream shop that sold like artificial flavoring like cotton candy. Everything was super like, it had real ingredients in it. And I craved cotton candy ice cream the entire time I was in Boston and couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. Couldn't. I would go to Target, I would go to Publix, and they'd be like, oh yeah, like all of our natural flavors. And I was like, that's really great for somebody trying to be healthy, but I just downed like 3 beers and I'm looking for some ice cream. So what are we doing? Yeah, I thought that was an interesting tidbit. But yes, my love, being understood. I saw a post and a creator had said this, and then I saw 4 or 5 other creators say this. So I don't know who said it originally. I don't think there was an original person. I think this is just something that is kind of a saying that people have said, which is that you're not here to be understood or misunderstood. You're here to be experienced. So as you're walking through your life and as you're doing things, you don't have to work so hard. 22 minutes and 22 seconds as I'm saying this, you don't have to work so hard for people to understand you. Now, I know a lot of you watching this video may be the types of people who seek to understand others because you know what it feels like to be misunderstood and you don't want people to feel like that. I have been there. I have been there. But when you get to a point where you realize you really are an experience, people don't have to get you. In fact, it's cool when people don't get you, when they don't understand what you're doing, because then they can be pleasantly surprised. They can be pleasantly surprised by the experience. By the experience. Like some of you have told me, you've had these beautiful, glowing compliments that I appreciate. And the truth of the matter is that if I tried to get every single one of you, of the people watching this video, to understand me, I would be exhausted. I wouldn't be having a good time. Some people who watch my stuff, it's just one video that they're watching and they only maybe watch 5 minutes of one of the videos. And then they move on. I haven't checked my analytics for these videos, so I don't know that for a fact, but I just have a feeling. I mean, these videos are long, and if it's not directly applying to you, I can see where you'd get bored. And you'd be like, I'm trying to be somewhere else, honestly. Like, I get it. I get it. I get the YouTube algorithm. I get how it works. I get that I am not doing the things that it would take to make my videos blow up. I don't title my videos titles that are the, big keywords of the week. I'm not putting hashtags that are specifically hashtags that you would use to blast them out to a bunch of people. I only ever do that if I moved. So there are videos where there are no hashtags. There are videos where the title is super long and it's very specific, so you wouldn't be able to find that by accident. The fact that I film vertically instead of horizontally, and one of the big things is I don't do a whole lot of responding in the comments and liking videos and stuff like that. So it's like, the point, I guess, that I was trying to make as I was saying all of that is that you are here to be experienced. You are an experience. You're not just a human being. You are a spirit. You're something beautiful. You're like a sunset or a sunrise. Some of you are like tornadoes or tsunamis. Like, you arrive at a location and you shift the entire energy of that location. And you don't even know it. You're just being you. Like, I've met people who they walk into a room and their aura, it's like, whose spiritual pressure am I feeling right now? Because their aura is just so strong. And you turn around and you're like, what the fuck? And it's just, they're an experience. It is truly, it sometimes can be a pleasure. Sometimes it can fucking suck. I'm sure 25 minutes and 25 seconds as I'm about to say this, but I'm sure that there are some of you who have experienced people who are just the fucking worst. And you're like, that was an experience I never want to have again. And even that is an interesting experience that you can talk about and that you can share with other people. Drink some water, please. Ooh, tummy. But yeah, I had a phenomenal time at this Mystic Festival that we went to. There were a bunch, every other table were tarot card readers, people who were doing, there was one tent where there was a Reiki healer. I never know how to pronounce that word, and I've heard it 100 times pronounced correctly, and I'm always, my brain looks at the spelling and goes, there were jewelry counters. We got there, and the first thing we did, because my sister invited myself and some of her friends, so I got to hang out with the girls. It was a fun night, and we got there and immediately went to the food trucks because we were all starving, and I got shawarma, and it took forever for us to get our stuff. So by the time we got done, we only had like an hour left of the festival, but the food was really good. And then there was a very small art exhibit. Y'all, I love art. If you do art, if you are an artist and you have like if you're a person who does like somebody in my comments draws, you do designs. It was a person who reached out and said that we should collaborate on jackets. That's maybe one day. I don't know. Right now I'm not in the position to do anything like that. But for those of you who are artists and you draw, especially if you have accounts on Instagram, let me know so that I can follow you, because I love art. I am a sucker for art. When I was living in Boston, I went to that museum. I forget the name of the museum, but I was there like every other weekend if I could manage it. If I didn't have other stuff to do, I was there. Every date that somebody would take me on, and they would say, where do you want to go? I said the art museum, because I love art. Not only do I enjoy people watching, but I love looking at beautiful things or things that make you think. And I do have a favorite era of art. I have to look, I'm one of those people who, it's like I have special interests or things that I really like, and then I can't remember what it's called. So it's like, do you really like this thing because you don't remember the name? And it's like, I do like that thing. I just don't remember the name. But there's an era of art that I absolutely love. And it's the era where you have the people are kind of in the forefront and they're brighter, and then the background is just dark. It's just shadows. I wish I had taken a picture of some of the art that we saw, because I got emotional. I think it was called Filaments and the Void was the painting that I saw, and it was just black, red, browns. It was very dark colors, and the way it was organized on the canvas it just took me back. It just pushed me emotionally, and I got so emotional. It was amazing. And it wasn't a lot of art because it was kind of like a community center, because that park's not very big, but it was nice. We got to do that. My sister and her friends, they took some pictures, so they're probably going to be in the local newspaper. And I was like, that's dope. That's cool. But I was like doing my own little thing. So I was like, hey, I avoided photos. He'll never catch me. But let's see. So we did that. And there were so many dogs. Oh my gosh, guys. There was one dog, and he was so chunky, and his name was Bruce. I saw him from across the park, and I was like, yo, that's a big boy. And everybody I was with was like, oh my god, he's so big. And I was like, I really want to go pet him. And they're like, you should go ask. I was like, yeah, But, you know, as much as I want to go pet him, that couple is having a good day. And I have had experiences where I will roll up to a couple that has a dog, or anybody that has a dog historically, and I've been like, oh, can I pet your dog? But at some point, like a few years ago, I was like, that's gotta be uncomfortable. And I was like, and the dog may not even want to be pet. That's something people don't consider. A lot of people like, can I pet your dog? But they don't like lock it in with the dog and go, do you really want to be pet right now? Or are you cool? Are you like hanging out? And so I was like, no, we won't. And so we went somewhere else. And then the couple passed, and I turned around and the dog was looking up at me, and I was like, oh, and they're like, do you want to pet him? And I was like, manifestation is real. Like, I was so happy because they were on the other side of the park, and then we were doing other stuff, and then I turned around and there he was. And that's an example of how the universe works. When you ask for something, after you ask, detach yourself from that shit. Do other things. Be happy and joyous and laugh and feel good, and you're going to turn around one day and that shit will be sitting right there for you. Yeah, sure, that sounds easy. It sounds easy. What it is simple, but it's not easy. That shit's hard. But, so there was that. I met somebody who did artwork. I always feel bad going to places like that when I haven't allotted funds for it, because then everybody's like, oh, hey, would you like to come check out my stuff? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I go and I check their stuff out, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying for anything, bye. But it's because I don't, you know, at that time, I don't have it, you know? If I know, like, something's coming up and I have it, like, I allot the money for it. Like, you know, whenever I go to the next con that I go to, I'm specifically putting aside money so that I can bring back some, like, stuff. I love plushies and stuffed animals. I'm a big fan of posters. I'm not a big figurines person, but they're like other stuff that I like, so. Yeah, excuse me. So we did that, and that was really fun. And then my sister went out and hung out, and so I actually got to watch a stream of a person I've never watched do a stream before, and that was really fun. It was actually fun. It was live, and I think it's one of the... I've seen live streams before, but never like this. Like, I've never seen a stream where I like really was having fun with the content, and I actually was in the chat. And I had hanjun, which is some Korean alcohol, and so that was really good. And I had a good time, and it was just me. I had taken a shower. I was relaxed. I was in my PJs. I had my penguin blanket. It was just a good time. And I was able to recharge. It's crazy. For those of you who have been following all of my videos and may remember that I said I get anxiety online when it comes to interacting with people online, it's gone right now. And when I say gone, I don't mean playing with other people. Calm down. Baby steps. I actually don't mind typing things in chats now on videos where people are streaming, because I was in the chat cackling. Now, if you are an experienced person who chats and streams, feel free to explain to me what you're supposed to do down below, because I just do think, like, anytime I'm watching a video, I am speaking as if I am there talking to the person. I could be watching a movie by myself. I could be watching a TV show like Bob's Burgers by myself, and one of the characters will say something and I'll be like, oh my god, you're hilarious, and I talk as if they're there. And I've always done this. I don't know why I started doing it. I don't know where it came from, but that's how I am. So then when streamers are streaming, I literally just put in the chat the comments that I think to myself when things are happening, and it makes me laugh. Like facial expressions and stuff like that be killing me. It was, I don't know what the game is called, but it was like one of those, I'm not even going to try to explain it. I'm tired. But it was a really cool video game to watch. I've been watching a lot of streamers play, and like clips of people playing Marvel Rivals. And apparently I looked at it and I was like, isn't this Overwatch? And people were like, yeah, it's like Overwatch. And I was like, oh, okay. I used to play Overwatch. And when I say I used to play Overwatch, I mean I used to practice with bots. I got into 1 or 2 live games, and after that, the anxiety of gaming with people online it took hold of me, and I was like, nope, and that was years ago. That was back in what? 20... 18, I think. I was playing Overwatch. And I was like, nope. I really could only play it if I was buzzed. Like, if I had had a drink. And then, of course, that meant that my gameplay was ass. And when you play with real people, they need you to be on it. They need you to lock it the fuck in. And I typically did not play complicated characters that it took a lot of, like, skill to play. So I always ended up playing, like, the most basic characters. I was like, damn. So in Overwatch, I played a lot of Mercy because I was doing healing stuff. I played some, what is her name? Is it Widowmaker? I haven't played the game in forever. I played her. I enjoy sniping. I thoroughly enjoy sniping. Man, look here. What game was I playing? There's a mobile game that I was playing on my phone, and it gave you the option to do, like, to snipe people, and I was like, yes. Because the way I like to play video games is I enjoy playing video games how I would be in real life. So, like, Dishonored. Dishonored is probably, it's rivaling a couple of different video games for first place, but it's one of my favorite games. It's like, you have the option to be stealthy, and you can play stealthy, or you can go in guns blazing. You can do like a run where you don't really use magic because there is a magic system. You can just go in with a pistol and a sword and like your fists. Like, you could do that. But I always do magic because in real life, I'm a spiritual bitch. And then I always like to do stealth because in the real world, I'm not throwing hands with anybody. Please, please. I really wish I would be out here getting my ass beat. I don't think so. It's like what the principal said in Abbott Elementary. And she was like, the secret to never getting your ass beat is knowing who can beat your ass. That's me. I know most people. It's funny though, because there's some people I meet and I'm like, I could definitely take you. Like, I could take you. I'd be thinking that sometimes, but I know I'm not that person. I'm not that person. I have always thought to myself that if I was ever in a relationship and anybody cheated on me, that's just, and I found out, that is a quiet exit. That is a quiet exit stage left. There would be no theatrics. There would be no me trying to ask you why. There would be no me trying to figure out why. There would be no conversation. You would come home to all of my stuff gone and I would just be out. Because I don't need closure. You have told me everything I need to know. You've told me that you do not care about me. Like, I saw Kenny JD, who I absolutely love. Kenny JD. She talked, and I had never thought about it this way. I was always very like, because I always thought about cheating from the perspective of the person who would be cheated on. So there were people who would always, like, you know, whenever that conversation would come up, it's like, is this okay? And if it's not okay, why? And how bad is it? And usually I was on the side of, no, that's not cool, because I'm thinking about the person who is being cheated on. You trust this person. You've locked into a relationship with this person, and this other person has, and if somebody cheats and then right after they're like, yeah, no, that wasn't cool. I gotta tell you, bro, this thing happened. That to me is very different. And this is just a personal opinion. This is not like a moral high ground or ethical thing or whatever. This is just my opinion. If you have been cheating on me for a consistent amount of time, first off, it's crazy that I didn't know that. Like, because for me, I'm such an observant person. It's like most people are not slick enough to maintain their behavior in a way that makes it easy for them to hide it. Everybody has tells. We learned this in poker. If you've watched any of those FBI interviews where they tell you how people act and how they know certain things, there are psychology books out here. You can see when a person switch hits. You can always tell. And then the energy is different too. When you're a spiritual person, you may not believe this, but when you're a spiritual person, you catch shit way before. Like, you'll feel shit. Like, I've had dreams where somebody has been talking shit about me. Somebody who doesn't live in the same state as me, somebody who I'm not following them on Instagram, and I've been like, no, I know this person's talking shit about me. And I'll have like 3 dreams in a row, and that's how I know it's happening, because 3 is like the confirmation. And then months later, I'll be like, yeah, you know, how is such and such? I ain't seen them in forever. And they're like, bro, we don't fuck with them no more because they was talking shit about you. And I'm like, I know. Bro, if you lock into your intuition, you're gonna feel like a fucking X-Men. You're gonna feel wild, because your intuition really is a 6th sense. A lot of people don't trust their intuition because they're like, well, intuition is you know, I can't really feel it as much as like taste, touch, you know, all the other senses. But animals have 6 senses. You know, when you're out and you can feel somebody staring at you, and you turn and you look and you lock eye contact, like you lock eyes with the motherfucker that's staring at you, that is a 6th sense, and it has saved people's lives countless times. So many of you watching this video have a very strong 6th sense, but you do not want to believe it because you want to believe that the person who your gut is telling you not to trust, you want to believe that person. You really do. You really want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And this is actually kind of heavy for this video. This is not where I expected to go, so somebody needs to hear this. I don't know who. But that's me. You know, because my thing is if a person cheats on me, it's because they are missing something. 41 minutes and 41 seconds as I say this. There is something going on in their space that they require that they don't have. They don't have it. And odds are, at no point will I ever be able to give that to them. So for me, it doesn't make sense for me to hold a grudge. I know some people are like, oh yeah, don't be the bigger person. Instead of, you know, taking the high ground, go lower, go to hell. I've heard that, and I think it's funny. I think it's a funny statement. But for me, the best type of revenge when it comes to relationships that didn't work out because a person mistreated you or you feel like you were mistreated is just to move forward. Go to therapy. Be better for yourself, be better for your next relationship, and live a better life. To me, that is the best form of revenge. And also, the reason why I say the things that you think that you did is because it takes 2 people to fuck up a relationship. 42 minutes and 42 seconds as I say this. Somebody told me a long time ago, they were like, the thing about a person in a relationship being like an ain't shit person, and then you have the other person and everybody's like, this person doesn't deserve this. People don't deserve to be mistreated. Like, I don't think that people just outright deserve to be mistreated. I don't believe that. But what I do believe is that if you're in a relationship with a person who is consistently fucking you over, or there's constantly you are a part of that issue. I knew somebody who, they said that they were doing everything in their relationship in order for things to be solid. And the girl that they were with, in their words, she was crazy. And she had threatened to leave here voluntarily if they broke up with her. And she was really toxic and all this stuff. And they broke up with her, but then they got back together with her because she was really upset. 43 minutes and 43 seconds. I don't know who this is. So I'm talking to you right now. And it was all of this drama. And I looked at him and I was like, but you were a part of the problem, no? And it's like, well, no, because all I wanted to do was love her. All I wanted to do was care about her. Look here, people show you who they are. I think it was Maya Angelou that said, when a person shows you, not tells you. When a person shows you who they are, my love, believe them. Do not try to create a different story for the person that you are dealing with, because all you're doing is lying to yourself. That's all you're doing. And you're just going to prolong bullshit. Maybe not in every situation. I don't know everything. I'm just some bitch on the internet. But look here. The amount of people who I've met who their relationships have been ass. 44 minutes and 44 seconds as I'm saying this. Their relationship has been garbage. And they're like, no, like, he can do better or she can do better. I'm like, they could, but they're not. In fact, this has been months. This has been months of you being mistreated. And yet you keep allowing it to happen. I believe there's a difference between forgiveness and patience with a person and willfully choosing to sit in a toxic situation. And I don't know, maybe some people like sacrificing. Maybe some people enjoy the self-sacrifice. Maybe you're the type of person who's like, if I'm not self-sacrificing, then who am I? You know, hot girls are self-sacrificers. Maybe you really care about this person. But something that I tend to see a lot, and this may be something that you're dealing with, is that a lot of people will keep people around because A, it's comfortable. And B, A, it's comfortable. B, you feel like you wasted your time, especially if we have clocked more than a year in this relationship. But then another thing that I feel like some people feel and they don't want to admit is that you feel that if you leave this person, it makes you a bad person. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Some of you believe that if you leave the relationships that you're in where the other person is being toxic and you actually are going to therapy and you're trying and you're putting the work in and they're not, some of you believe that if you drop that person, it makes you a bad person. And I don't know who told you that, but I think it's worth... My stomach said, yeah. I think that's worth exploring. Who told you that? And I know that there are people who are like, everybody's so quick to leave relationships these days. 46 minutes and 46 seconds as I say this, but yeah, they are. There are people who are very quick to leave relationships, and it's not all for the same reason. There are people who are quick to leave a relationship nowadays because they know their worth. They know that if you're showing me that you don't give a fuck about me, I'm not going to sit around and wait for that to potentially change. No. You know who a person is. They tell you. They show you who they are. Some people, y'all do. Some of y'all are hopping from a relationship to the next because you're bored, because you're afraid of commitment, because you don't like being called on your bullshit. Like, some of you really are on some fuck shit. And I don't think that's a lot of people watching this video, if I'm being honest. I think the majority of people watching this video are big-hearted people. I think if you're seeing my content, especially here at the 48 minute mark, you care a lot. And you caring a lot is keeping you from the relationship that you actually deserve. But the thing is that the longer you accept bullshit from your partners, the longer it takes for them to work on their stuff, the more you are showing and communicating to them, not by what you're saying, but by what you are communicating physically. You are letting them know it's fine. I will be mistreated. I will let you mistreat me. I'll let it happen. And I'll be here as long as you want to keep mistreating me. And again, if that's anybody's prerogative and you feel good doing that, you don't lose sleep, you never get sick, you're never tired, you just feel constantly energized in that type of situation, I ain't gonna tell you to change it. This is something interesting about the way that I kind of tend to give, like, my friends 48 minutes and 48 seconds as I'm saying this. This is kind of weird of how I like to give my friends information, because I'll have friends who are like, my man cheated on me, but I cheated on him. Like, should I leave, like, because he cheated on me? And I'm like, honestly, you have to ask yourself, what did y'all agree upon when y'all got into a relationship? My stomach said, yeah. What was that discussion? Did you agree that this was cheating? Did you agree? Because a lot of people have different definitions of things, and we don't want to hear that. So many people don't want to hear that people are different from them. and that their understandings of things are different. Like, some people think cheating is liking somebody else's picture on Instagram, and that's valid if that's how you feel. Some people are like, that's not cheating, it's just a person's picture. Like, you're not going out there and having an intense relationship with them. Some people, they think that emotional cheating is worse. Like, you're building a relationship with somebody and you're spending more time with them, and that's not the person that you're with. There's some people who believe that cheating is exactly what I would think, like a good 80% of people think, which is, you know, not being sexually faithful, you know. But the truth of the matter is it is whatever you and the other people that you are with, person or people that you're with, it's what you decide. A lot of people, when I was polyamorous, thought that because you're polyamorous, there's no such thing as cheating. That's a lie. Cheating is a lie. It is the act of lying to the person that you are with so that you can do something different with somebody else. You know, that's what cheating is. So you can be with 5 or 6 people, and if you haven't let those 5 or 6 people know that there is a 7th person that you are dealing with who could be changing the dynamic of things, that's cheating. Especially if they agreed upon it. But that's my thing. I'm always like, well, it depends on the couple. It depends on what they agree upon. Because some people, they don't have a problem with it. And so I would never be like, you need to leave him because he cheated on you, or you need to leave her because she cheated on you. Because my thing is, how do you feel about it? Like, how does that resonate with you? Are you the type of person to where you're like, that's water under the bridge. I can forget about it. I can move forward. It's fine. What I would recommend is, if you're dealing with a situation where somebody has, and it doesn't even have to be cheating, it can be that somebody did something that really, really hurt your feelings and you felt really betrayed by them in the relationship. If you cannot find a way to forgive and move on, you really need to consider whether or not you really want to be in that relationship. Because there are a lot of people who want to be in the relationship. They want things to be better, but they're stuck because they can't forgive the other person for what they did to them. And so they're kind of in this weird limbo space where it's like, I can't really do anything with you and trust you, but I also don't want to let you go. And that's a hard situation to be in. And I think, you know, in my videos, I like to bring things to people's attention. It doesn't, you don't have to do anything. Even if I'm like, stop it, don't do that, or you should do this. Even if I say that, you never have to do anything that I recommend. I always suggest you critique in your space, in your heart. If I'm saying something, go look that shit up. Check your spirit. Check with your therapist. You know, the person who actually has a certification for these things. And see how you feel about it. And, you know, go on. I'm just here talking. I'm just here talking my shit and popping. I'm just talking my shit. Or shit in general. But yeah, I have no idea why we got on that topic. So there was one video I did and I said nothing in the video about sneaky links, but as I was titling the video, Spirit was like, hey yo, you need to tell somebody in the description of this video that their sneaky link is actually preying on their downfall, and their sneaky link is going to try to fuck up a massively great thing that this person is trying to do. They're going to come out of their face to do some fuck shit. And I was like, what? And so I put it in the comment, or in the description. I was like, hey yo, if you've got a sneaky link and you're reading this right now, you need to reevaluate that sneaky link and whether or not you want to keep them around, because they do not like you. Like, there are people who will be close to you and even be sleeping in the same bed next to you and do not like you. And they're just there so that they can slowly, on some villain shit, try to take you out. It's terrible. There are people who have way too much time on their hands to be haters. But that's why we evaluate ourselves. That's why we do shadow work. That's why we get good with our intuition, so that we can figure out who these people are. We ask them questions. We look at their actions. When you look at people's actions, it tells you so much about what they're thinking and what they're doing. You'd be like, what? You never remember my birthday. What do you mean? You never remember my birthday. But you always somehow know when a new skin is finna drop for your favorite character in your video game. And that'd be ever changing. That's never the same date. But this is the same date and you can't remember.
What does that mean? I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm asking you, what do you think? What do you think that means? I don't know. I feel like in some cases, the things that I say in my videos inspire certain people to check their partners or to ask people in their lives questions, and I kind of feel like I'm spiritually stirring the pot. Like, I really do feel like in my videos I'd be like, you need to do this. You know, if your parents are telling you you need to be a doctor, but you're passionate about pottery. I mean, last time I checked, it was your life. Like, I feel like I'm an instigator. I should be over here talking. But yeah, so I don't know why we got on all that, but take everything I say with a grain of salt, my friend. Like, don't just take things that I say and go running with it, and then I'll flip on the news or I'll see a story on Facebook and they'll be like, local buster, you know, broke up with his girlfriend over some dumb shit and quoted Yasha Thais from YouTube for why he don't bring me into this. Don't bring me into it. Local buster. Oh my god, I be making myself laugh so hard, bro. I be killing myself. I be out here killing myself. I be crying. And my sister will be looking at me like, well, she's like, you're not funny. But then she'll smile. And I'm like, so you did find it funny? And like, she's like, I think you're cute. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. I really do love to laugh, though. I've really been enjoying it. The Instagram videos, especially Instagram video gameplays, have been killing me. Whatever that video game is where you have to be an object and you have to like try to fit in with your surroundings and not have people find out who you are, bro, those video game playbacks, they're so funny. They're so funny. Oh my gosh, they're hilarious. Oh, excuse me. But yes, I never know why I get on certain topics. There's certain topics that I'll talk about and I'm like, I have no idea why I got there, and I have no idea why I got passionate, because like in my general life, I don't care. So yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? Talking wise, what else can I say? And they can see my face. Yeah. There was something that I learned today that I feel like I want to share. Whoa. I hope is that everything was copacetic just then. There was something I learned today that I wanted to share. Ooh, my bestie does tarot card readings. So if you're looking for somebody who does tarot card readings, she just started a page, and I love her vibe. She's one of my favorite people. And so I will put her, I guess I'll do Instagram for now, because I don't know if she's posting. No, she is posting on YouTube. Never mind. So I'm going to put her Instagram and her YouTube in the description for those of you who'd like tarot card readings and it's like you're ever moved to look. In my opinion, she's very locked in. She's very locked in. There have been some things that have gone on in my life, and she and I had not talked for days, and then she would be like, hey, I was moved to do a tarot card reading for you, and then she would do it, and it would be exactly what I was going through with an answer to my problem. So I recommend 58 minutes and 58 seconds as I say that. I recommend going and checking her out if you are so moved to. I like her vibe. It's a different, well, I don't know. I guess that's up to you. I was about to say, it's a different vibe from kind of what I do. It is, like, she definitely has her own vibe. She's so cute. I love her so much. But yeah, I'm going to put her stuff in the description because I don't do tarot card readings. So because I know that some people really like that and they're like, that's what I'm looking for, that's why I will forward people to people who do that, because I don't do it. And I know it can be of help in these interesting times. I cannot believe. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it's already January 11th. Like, by the time I post this, well, no, it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., so it is January 11th. I can't believe it. That's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like the year is already moving fast. Yeah, so I shared that. What else do I have for you on this fine evening? You're sitting there just enjoying yourself, listening to the sultry sounds of my voice. I'll show this again. I wonder if I can. Makes a little noise. What was it? I'm so tired. That's why I'm having trouble remembering what it was. Oof. Tummy. My big thing today that I learned was to follow my intuition, but there was something else. I really am getting that right now is a really good time. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I know that now is actually a really good time for people to lock into relaxation. And by relaxation, I mean give your mind a break. Figure out a way to do something that will calm your mind and start to create a relaxation routine that you can put into place when stressful things happen or exciting things happen. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to pause and wait before you do things. I have always been very quick to respond, referring back to me talking about really wanting to be understood. I have always had a problem with just blurting out when people ask me questions, blurting out an answer and trying to get there as fast as possible because I didn't want to be perceived as stupid. But recently, I have been slowing down. So when somebody asks me a question, I'll say, let me think about it. I'm processing. And if anybody rushes me, I tell them, well, do you want a rushed answer that I don't care about, or do you actually want an answer? Because the truth of the matter is a lot of people are impatient. A lot of people will ask you a question and they're rushing you because they're asking you last minute or because they just don't want to wait. And that's not your problem. That's not your problem. Like, the ability to have patience truly is a virtue. It truly is a virtue. And people are patient with things they want to be patient with. So I don't have a problem taking the time that I need to answer. So it used to be that I would always give an answer immediately. And now if people ask me a question and I'm like, what is the deadline by which you need an answer to this question? Because some things are time sensitive. And if they're like, well, I need it by tonight, then I'm like, I'll give it to you by tonight. You know, even if I know the answer, sometimes I will slow it down just specifically so that I can think on it, so that I can see how my body feels. When you are quick to respond to things and you're constantly jumping on things, or when you're hopping on things or jumping on things, if you know, you know, then you're not giving yourself the time to contemplate and to check with your spirit. So tonight, my mom asked me a question, and I was immediately going to answer, and I stopped and I looked at her, and she was like, are you thinking this? And I was like, no, actually, I want to know why you asked your question, because I realized right after she asked the question, I usually jump to answer. But when I stood there and I thought about it for a second, I was like, I don't even know if this is a question that I want to continue to answer. You know, sometimes we do things that we're in just a habit of doing. We just do things out of habit and we don't think about it. And I think it's worth thinking about it. or feeling about it, really. And after we had a conversation, I was able to set a boundary, and it was great, and it was beautiful, and it was amazing, and I loved it. And that's what's starting to happen. When people hit me with certain information, or they hit me with certain questions and they're expecting an answer, I'm realizing I don't have to give you an answer right now. I can wait. I can take my time. 4 minutes and 44 seconds. As I'm saying this, I can be sturdy in myself and in my foundation, and you can wait for me to give you an answer that I will be happy with. Because a lot of people, like, it's like going to any store trying to buy something that you need, like a sales associate to help you with, and they're telling you, well, you need to buy it right now. You know, it's a limited time. If you don't buy it right now, it's not going to be here anymore. And there are some of you who your intuition is so strong that you probably could figure that out before the person even finishes their sentence. And the more you practice, for those of you who aren't there, the more you practice, the more you will be able to tell your intuition from intrusive thoughts, or you trying to make something happen, or wishful thinking. You'll be able to tell the difference. But a lot of the reason why people will hit you with this deal ends tonight is because they want you to not think about it. They want you to just jump in there and spend your money. And then get home and it falls apart, and then you come back and they're like, didn't we tell you money up front, no refunds? Come on now. So take your time when making decisions. One of the members that I have on my spiritual team, he always tells me, you have all the time in the world. You have all the time in the world to sit in this moment and to feel out an answer. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to rush it. And for those of you who are watching this, you don't have to rush it. I'm constantly in this kind of, constantly in this place where I'm battling saying things and then putting disclaimers on them, because I really don't want to ever be in a position where I misspeak in a way where I'm like, this is how it is every time, no exceptions, because some people, they really do see people who do videos like this and they're like, I'm gonna follow, you know. I will always encourage you to think for yourself. I will always encourage you to feel for yourself. Feel it out. If it does not sound good to you, for you, you may want to find out why, and then do something else. Now, if it doesn't feel good because you feel like your toes were stepped on, that's a different story. We all need our toes stepped on occasionally. It helps. But yeah. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ormai vestuto e vissuto con te. It's time to say goodbye con partirò su navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye. Da 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 da. La da 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 da. If you haven't heard Time to Say Goodbye by Sarah, I forget her last name, and Andrea Bocelli, you should go listen to it. Especially if you like emotional operatic music. I cry every time I hear the song. I'd be in bed at night like, it's so beautiful. I'd just be crying. I love operatic music and choral music. Ooh, Tarek O'Regan. I really wish I could remember how to spell his name, but he did a whole thing called Triptych, and it was so creepy, and it was like video game music. I always hate when I bring up things that I know I'm not going to remember to put in the description. I always hate that. And then it's like, I could put it in the description later tomorrow, and I probably will. I might, if I go back and I watch the video. It's weird. For those of you who don't remember, when I first started doing these videos, I was moved not to watch them. And I think it's because it was the perfectionist thing. It was like, don't watch them because you're then going to try and delete the video if you feel like you said something that offended somebody. But the thing is that because I've always been so like, I don't want to offend anybody, I don't post any content at all. And there are people out here who are offending people on the daily on purpose, who are posting content and getting views and making money and doing things. So it's like, for me and for you, if you are being authentic and you want to post content, but you're afraid of the kind of feedback that you're going to get, I'd say post it anyways, because there are people out here who really are on some fuck shit, who are posting and they're getting viewed and they're being seen. And we need more positivity online. We could always use more. We could always use more people who are talking about their creative endeavors, people who have advice, people who talk about their own life story. You never know, if you start posting videos talking about your life story, somebody may find that, and then that helps them get through what they're doing. Like, you just never know. You never know. I've had people where I've, been like, this is kind of embarrassing, but back in high school, and then I would tell them and they'd be like, oh my God, I did the same thing. I feel so I feel vindicated. I feel validated. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the whole human thing, is the ability to validate one another and to hold each other up and lift each other up, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have for you all before I let you go. I did, I think it was one of the first videos that I did where I hopped off the phone super quick and I was getting up to get out of my closet, and my team said, if you don't sit back down and record a second video because you weren't done. And I was like, So now that's why I wait. I tend to wait to make sure. I make sure that there's nothing else that I need to say, because if there is one person who views the video who may be moved to skip through the video and then they hear it at the exact moment that I said it, who am I to deny somebody information they need, There's somebody in this chat. It's time for you to start giving some things to Goodwill. Yes, it's time for you to start giving some things to Goodwill, primarily because you are A, going to be moving, and B, you need to clear out some old stuff that no longer serves you. And then the people who I'm not talking to, if that doesn't feel like something you need to do, I would still take reconnaissance of all of my material things and see what you use and what you have and what feels good for you and what doesn't feel good. What are things that you've been taking from people over time? Like, growing up, my family members would always give me their oversized t-shirts, and I'm talking like extended family would give me and send me their oversized t-shirts. And so I had a drawer full of oversized t-shirts that I never wore. And I was like, you know what? Somebody who needs clothes, who may not have money to buy clothes, might be able to use this. I have a drawer of like 40 t-shirts I never wear. So I took them all to Goodwill, and I felt really good about it. And I was really happy that I could give them to somebody else. I've really been in a place of giving when I am led to give. So if I have something and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is my favorite thing, and then I stop wearing it for some reason and I'm just feeling like I'm not supposed to be wearing it anymore, usually it means it's time for it to go to somebody else. So it's meant that I'm not as attached to my material items, which is pretty great because it opens me up to receive the things that I've asked for. You can't receive new blessings and new things if you have your hands like this. Like, how's it gonna get in? It's not going to. You want to constantly keep that spiritual balance of giving and receiving. You want to keep that going. Yeah. So I think that is all for this evening. As always, I appreciate you guys spending time with me. I want you to start looking at yourself in a mirror and picking something on your person that you really like, and I want you to really just love on that aspect of yourself. I'd say write a lame poem about it, Act as if that thing that you have is on a person that you love, somebody outside of you, a friend. A dear friend has your eyes, or a dear friend has your nose, or your chin, or your lips, or your shoulders. And think about how you would encourage that friend. If they were like, I don't like this about myself, what would you say about it? What would you say if it was a friend who you loved and who you cared about? Me, I would hype that friend up. At the end of the hype up, they would be like, are you trying to marry me? And I'd be like, I mean, maybe. Because that's really how it should be. tell yourself when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, smile and compliment yourself. Tell yourself you're pretty. It's going to feel weird at first. It's going to feel very weird, especially if you're the type of person who hates compliments. It's going to feel weird. But when I tell you, getting through that weirdness and being able to appreciate yourself is going to do wonders for your self-esteem. It's going to do wonders. And there's so many of you watching this who probably like, my self-esteem is fine, but you can't take a compliment. So, I mean, if your self-esteem is so fine, a compliment wouldn't bother you. But there's some people that I know, they're like, it's fine. But then I compliment them and they're like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? Tell me again how you think your self-esteem is fine. Tell me again. I would love to hear it. But anyways, that's what I've got for this evening. That's all I got. I don't have anything else. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, or night at whatever time you're watching this. Again, comments, subscriptions. If you subscribe, likes, they're always appreciated, but you never have to do them. I do read them and I do respond. I would rather respond on here, honestly, than do like a comment, because when I respond on here, you can see my face. You can see my face and you can see the energy with which I say things. So you know, like if I'm making a joke, you know I'm joking. Or you know, if I am hyping you up, you get the energy with which I'm hyping you. It's not just like words. Words. But anyways, yeah, you guys have a fantastic rest of whatever you're gonna do after you watch this video. Make sure you get some water in. Make sure you go outside. You know, breathe some fresh air. If it's late at night and it's not safe for you to go outside, don't do that. Just wait. Just wait until later when you can go outside later. And remember to kiss your homies goodnight. Text your homies. Let them know that you love them. Everybody text your homies. Let your homies know. Especially that one homie you be thinking of whenever you like want to send them memes. Like, who are like your top 3 people or your top person who you always want to send memes to or funny videos? Text them and let them know. Be like, hey, I didn't want anything. I just wanted to let you know that I love you and I appreciate having you in my life. Don't make it weird. And you can tell them that. You can be like, don't make it weird. I just want to tell you I love you. But yeah. Alrighty. You guys have a wonderful time and I will see you tomorrow night. Per usual.